Welcome to Moose Plays, everyone. I'm the Liquor Moose, and today we will be going over my Week 6 team builder for the second season of the UPA D-League. This week we will be going up against Carson AKA Golden Centurion, coach of the Jump City Hitmonlees. I will link his YouTube and Twitter in the description down below, so you guys can definitely go check him out. He is a fantastic battler. And yeah, we've already played once before in GPC. And he came out on the winning end in a very, very close 1-0 match. But yeah, so that's definitely a testament. I know we are. I don't know if like saying neck and neck in like skill level is necessarily a fair thing to say, because I don't really like judging how good I am. But either way, I know Carson is an extremely good battler, and he is definitely going to put my limits to the test, especially since we are both 3-2 and we definitely both want to stay above 500. I know I keep saying this a lot, but like 4-2 looks a lot better than 3-3 does. It's just the nature of how like one game per week season will end up going. Is just that like one win difference just looks a lot better on record, just because there's fewer games to play. But yeah, regardless, Carson's team did not make this particularly easy to build, but I tried my best to build for it. So let's go over his team right now. He drafted Landorus Therian, Mega Venusaur, Greninja, Reuniclus, Metagross, Ninetales Alola, Zapdos, Cofagrigus, Tapu Fini, and Glaceon. His Z-move users being Landorus Therian and the Greninja. This is Torrent Greninja, by the way, not Protean. And yeah, so first thing to note is that Carson actually did make some free agent changes before this game. He ended up dropping Druddigon and Hariyama and picked up Tapu Fini, which means he must be pretty scared of my Hydreigon, in my opinion. But yeah, aside from that point, the biggest threat on Carson's team, without a doubt, is that Greninja. Like, even if it's Torrent Greninja, that thing just does so much damage to my team. Especially when, like Life Orb or Choice Specs. I'm more scared of Life Orb just because he can switch up moves, but like Life Orb or Choice Specs just does way too much damage to my team. And yeah, like, just the amount of coverage it gets, and the fact that he could be physical on top of could be special, depending on pretty much what Carson feels like he needs to run for the match. Like, it is so hard to prep for a Greninja, because like it could be offensive, but it could just be like it could just be a Spikes lead, which I guess does work, but in my opinion kind of like disallows what Greninja can, like it prevents Greninja from shining in the format if you just use it as a hazard lead. But having hazards on it is still fine. But yeah, Greninja, especially with the Z move, like, I don't know, Z, if he's not Life Orb, I kind of expect him to be Z, I'm not gonna lie. He's brought Life Orb multiple times, and besides that, it's always been Z. But past the Greninja, Reuniclus is a huge threat. He's used Reuniclus very, very well this season, and that thing is just way too bulky, and had to be, I can't really say had to be checked a certain way, but like, I basically just have to like beat it down as hard as I can. But yeah, past that, I know Zapdos is going to be a pretty big problem for my team. I don't know about threat necessarily, but it's definitely a pretty big problem for my team to deal with. But yeah, other than that, like, there's a lot of things that could come again. Besides the Glaceon, I really don't see the Glaceon coming. It was literally a 1-point Pokemon, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get blown back by it. Who knows? But yeah, that's Carson's team, so let's take a look at what I am bringing to the table. So we have a Jolteon here that looks a little weird, possibly, but I actually really like this set for this match. So we have enough speed here for, I guess it would be his Greninja. But yeah, so we have Thunderbolt and Volt Switch, obviously the usual stuff. Hidden Power Ice for the Landorus Therian, and Fake Tears, which looks weird, but it's pretty common for Celesteela users to tech on Metal Sound, so that way Celesteela can net 2-hit KOs, and that's basically what I'm trying to do with Jolteon. But with the added bonus is that non-Yachi Berry Landorus will get one shot by Hidden Power Ice at -2. This Oko's, even Max HP Landorus, sorry. With this spread, I can guarantee Oko a -2 Tapu Fini that has max HP. But no more. Like, if he has a little bit of special defense, maybe, but it's a guarantee if he's only max HP, which I still think is pretty likely, just because it doesn't really need a lot of speed investment to be able to stop a Hydreigon. But yeah, so, and then what was the other thing? Oh, it's guaranteed to hit KOs, max HP, Zapdos at -2. And then the rest of it, I mean, it's just nice to have the -2 on, really. This is just here to just kind of force switches, basically. The first time, if he tries to switch in Landorus on a predicted electric attack and I fake Tears instead, I am actually going to switch out into my Skarmory, which you can see on screen here, just so that way I can scout whether he is either choice. If he attack, I guess it doesn't matter if he attacks, but basically to scout whether he's Choice Scarf or Yachi Berry, he would be one of the two if he decided to stay in. But yeah, so not too much to say about the Jolteon. Obviously max speed, and then the speed, max close to max HP. The speed for the Greninja, and then we have enough investment to guarantee. The biggest one was guarantee Oko -2 Tapu Fini that has max HP. And then the rest got put into Spadef as if he ends up bringing defensive Zapdos, this is actually a decent check to it. Heat Wave doesn't do too much, and obviously we're immune to electric attacks. I will have to watch out for Toxic though, as yeah, it was kind of iffy. But I guess he also has to watch out for Toxic in case of his Misty Terrain, because even though Zapdos is off the ground, Jolteon is not, so he will have to watch out for that. But yeah. Not too much really to say about the Jolteon. This is sort of to act like the Metal Sound Celesteela that you kind of see running around. The only difference would be that Jolteon does not get the Beast Boost, which is unfortunate, but I still think this can put in quite a bit of work. And next up we have Hydreigon, and I have to say, barring that Tapu Fini being there, this coverage is actually quite good for Carson's team. Basically, my goal of this, like the big thing about Tapu Fini is that obviously it lacks reliable recovery. It always wants leftovers as the item because it's just the best thing to have. So I think the best way about going about this will definitely be just try to beat down that Tapu Fini. Like, and you'll see more so when I get into the rest of the stuff. But like, yeah, just beat down the Tapu Fini until it goes into submission, and hopefully Hydreigon can start denting some things. But yeah, so Dark Pulse is here. Dark Pulse, Dragon Meteor, U-Turn, Flamethrower, I guess I should explain. So, Dark Pulse, obviously, I need this for the Reuniclus, otherwise that thing is way too bulky. If he is max HP, it does 64%, and I have the Chople Berry here to make sure that, regardless of whether he has Trick Room, I can KO him. Basically, if I was Choice Scarf, then he could live one Dark Pulse, Trick Room, and then potentially kill me with Focus Blast, depending on his investment. With a Chople Berry, it doesn't really matter whether he is Trick Room or not. The only thing, I guess, that could matter is if he is Leftovers, and after my one Dark Pulse, he goes for the Calm Mind. I think it's a roll at that point to kill. But yeah, I'm basically just, like, this is just trying to be here mostly to kill the Reuniclus, but overall can put a lot of pressure on his team. Draco Meteor dents a whole bunch of his non-fairy Pokemon, obviously. And yeah, U-Turn for Momentum. Flamethrower, I believe, was here for the Ninetales. Yes. So it was here for mostly the Ninetales, but it does have the merit of hitting the Metagross as well, which I actually think is a decently likely bring. But yeah, so again, not too much to say about this. It's pretty straightforward. Needed the Chople Berry for the Focus Blast on Reuniclus since it doesn't get a fairy move. But yeah, so that's Hydreigon. Next up, we have a specially defensive Skarmory with a weird investment. But yeah, this is if my friend Matt watches this, this is the Matt Scott special with no attack Skarmory. So basically, like I said, my plan is to just wear down that Tapu Fini to the point where his team is going to have trouble taking Dark Pulses. And yeah, definitely hazard stacking is going to be a part of that. I want to force him to defog, like, because he does have the Tapu Fini and the Zapdos. Like, his team, it's really just, is it those two? And I guess the Mega Venusaur with Synthesis to have the reliable recovery. Even though I don't think Mega Venusaur necessarily has the best matchup in this game, so I don't necessarily expect it. I guess it depends on how scared he is of Jolteon. But anyways, I plan to hazard stack him just to beat down on his Tapu Fini, basically. But I mean, it does help out with all the rest of the stuff, like Ninetales takes 25% from rocks. Wearing down the Greninja so his Life Orb hits can wear it down will always be crucial. But yeah, so this is just mostly here to be the sponge as well. Like, obviously you see Landorus there, like Skarmory pretty much has to come. I mean, I know I've said it like over and over again throughout the season, but it is somewhat true, even though I'm Spadef this time as like, if he's like Double Dance the Z-Fly, that doesn't really work because I have this. I actually mostly anticipate him. I mostly anticipate him bringing a defensive Landorus because, in my opinion, that's his best answer to my Diggersby. But regardless, we have all of this. We are Spadef, so that way this can take hits from the Alolan Ninetales a little bit better. As long as he is non-boosting item, then Blizzard is not a 2-hit KO, and then Leftovers mitigates the hail damage. So that's fine. So I can either stall out hail turns or stall out Aurora Veil turns, basically. But yeah, and then we have Whirlwind to get away to oh my goodness. We have Whirlwind to phase out his setup mons, and then obviously we have Roost, and then the 2 hazards. So the investment looks a little funky, but the goal of this was to be slower. Like, I just wanted the minus speed nature at first because I wanted to be slower than his Metagross. I do think Metagross is a relatively likely bring, mostly for my Tornadus, but I wanted to be slower than the Metagross so that way he cannot Earthquake me on my Roost. The only way he could do that is if he was also minus speed nature with like no EVs basically, or like less than 44 EVs because it is a speed tie. But yeah, I wanted to be oh my goodness, slower than the Metagross so he can't Earthquake on my Roost, but I still wanted to be faster than Glaceon. Should he bring it? I don't really know if he'll bring it, but if he does, then that way I can Roost before he gets his Blizzards off, and it becomes a resisted hit basically instead of a neutral hit. But yeah, so along with the Alolan Ninetales thing, I don't really expect him to stay in on the Skarmory with it because he does have to, unless my full moveset is revealed, he does have to fear the Iron Head, as even uninvested to a max HP Alolan Ninetales, Iron Head still OHKOs that thing. But yeah, so that's Skarmory, basically just here to be a bulky pivot for a lot of stuff. And next up we kind of have another bulky pivot with my Assault Vest Tornadus. This went through a lot of different variations, which I'm not going to go over now because, hey, could be a potential rematch in the making in playoffs. Obviously, I have to get there first. But yeah, this went through a lot of different variations, but ultimately I went with an Assault Vest variant. And yeah, turns out Hurricane dents his team pretty hard, barring I guess the Reuniclus. The Reuniclus and the Metagross mostly. Yeah, like this would definitely be the main reason that I see Carson bringing his Metagross, is because it's definitely the best thing on his team to take Hurricanes. On top of that, you would think, you know, I could have Heat Wave to deal with that, but I actually like Dark Pulse better to hit. It hits the Reuniclus still, even though I think Hurricane actually dents it more. It still hits the Cofagrigus super effectively, and basically the only things that resist it are his 2 Fairy types, which are Alolan Ninetales and Tapu Fini. Which, I mean, in general, I have Sludge Wave for. And plus, like, my general game plan is to wear down his fairies, so my Hydreigon can kind of can spam Draco Meteor pretty freely, anyways. And then after that, we have U-turn. I will have to be a little bit careful if he does bring the Cofagrigus. I'm not too sure how strongly he would. I mean, it depends on whether he fears Earthquake or Return more from my Diggersby that he would bring the Cofagrigus, because yeah, I guess it would just depend. The thing I will have to watch out for is if he does bring it, if I U-turn on his incoming Cofagrigus, then he actually gets rid of my Regenerator, so I don't get health back, which is really bad. So I will have to scout around. If he brings it, I'll have to scout around a bit with my just hard switching instead of U-turning, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, the Assault Vest lets me be a slightly bulkier pivot towards the, specifically the Mega Venusaur if he does bring it. But like I said, like, this is one of the main reasons I don't expect him to bring it. Like, Hurricane is still a 2-hit KO on even a max Spadef Mega Venusaur. Like, I don't know, I just don't really see Mega Venusaur coming, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, this is relatively perfect cover, like, it's perfect neutral coverage for this match, which I really like. Like, Tornadus is a pretty big problem for Carson's team, I'm not gonna lie, which is why Greninja is kind of a problem. One of the reasons why I ran Assault Vest, not gonna lie, was so I could take special hits from it a little bit better. I think Hydro Pump from Life Orb is a rule to 2-hit KO, and then of course he has to hit. Ice Beam, I think Hydro Pump, no, I think actually Ice Beam does more, so I guess Ice Beam is probably a guaranteed 2-hit. But yeah, so again, not too much to say. It was just the thing, another thing that can be a bulky pivot for the match, and I think we'll hopefully be able to pivot well into things like this. This doesn't take too much from Tapu Fini's Moonblast, although I do have to be careful with his Nature's Madness. I believe this is a roll to 2-hit KO max HP Tapu Fini with Sludge Wave. So I'm sure, so after Rocks, it should be a guaranteed 2-hit KO, and then obviously if I have multiple layers of spikes up as well, then it's definitely a 2-hit KO. Like, again, like, my plan is just to Hazard stack and just wear his team down, because his reliable recovery isn't really that great. Again, it's only limited to really Synthesis on Mega Venusaur, which I don't expect, Recover on Reuniclus, and then Roost on Zapdos. The rest of his team, I think, can get worn down easily by Hazards. But yeah, next up we have another reason that realistically Mega Venusaur should not show up for is my Mega Gallade. We are actually fighting-less because he actually does not have a fighting weak Mon. He only has fighting neutral Mons. So yeah, another reason, like, I kind of do expect, like, I guess it depends. Like, I'm sure Kofag could possibly take this on, but it has a pretty low HP stat, so if I'm at +2, it's definitely getting 2-hit KO'd by Zen Headbutt. I kind of expect, like, I'm not really sure where I am on the Reuniclus fence, really, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm sure he wants to try to play it physically defensive to try to stop this, but at the same time, he might want to try Calm Mind to try to hurt me back, like, not Gallade specifically, but like the rest of my team, because I don't think he can KO me with anything at +1. Maybe at +2 he could. I don't really remember. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Swords Dance, Zen Headbutt, Poison Jab, Knockoff. It's a pretty standard spread considering what Carson has on his team. Zen Headbutt is there to just get general 2-hit KOs at +2. Poison Jab should OHKO at +2. It should OHKO max HP Tapu Fini, and then Knockoff is there for basically his resist to Zen Headbutt and Poison Jab, which would specifically be the Reuniclus and the Metagross, which knocking off those items will be great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully using this set. Like, this set, in theory, seems like it should be good. But yeah, I shouldn't have to worry about the Scalds from Tapu Fini, but I mean, I guess it could just Moon Blast anyways. But yeah, I'm rambling, so on to the next thing, which was another one that I had a few ideas bouncing around with, but ended up going with Life Orb Diggersby, because I don't know, Greninja is just like this was a lot of things before, but Greninja is just like, Water Shuriken does way too much to Diggersby to have Scarf be a viable option, I'm not gonna lie. So I just went for the straight power route, so this way I can guarantee 2-hit KO Zapdos with my return. And then, what else do we have here? And then Earthquake is here for other, just stab. And then Knockoff and Quick Attack for the utility. And then Quick Attack for picking off the faster threats. And hopefully, I doubt he won't bring Water Shuriken on Greninja because he's brought it like every other game. But if for whatever reason he doesn't have Water Shuriken, then Quick Attack can pick off the not the Reuniclus, the Greninja. But yeah, so again, it's pretty standard stuff. The speed is to outspeed Adamant Metagross, which does also outspeed No Speed Landorus and No Speed Zapdos, which is pretty, like, is what I kind of expect. Like, maybe the Zapdos, I'm not too sure. Again, I think Zapdos is kind of a problem for this team, but I do pretty much expect, like, defensive Landorus, just specifically for this, which is odd because I don't have Ice Punch on here, but then I'm missing out on something here, because, like, I still want Earthquake, as it's definitely the best way to hit his Metagross should he bring it. And then, like, Knockoff is here for the general utility, and then Quick Attack I just need for the faster threats, because I really don't want them to, like, take advantage of the stuff. Like, I'm sure Quick Attack can definitely pick off like a weakened Alolan Ninetales and stuff like that. So yeah, I really like this set. Hopefully it can put in the work, and yeah, I don't think I have too much to say after that. So yeah, that is the team. It's a rather offensive team, which, for how much I've been saying Greninja is a huge threat, Greninja really thrives on opposing offensive teams, but Greninja's coverage is just, like, way too vast, and, like, it was way too difficult to try to predict, like, a defensive set. And, like, who knows, maybe I'll try, if we ever play again this season, maybe I'll try again with a defensive way to try to stop the Greninja. But yeah, like, Greninja's coverage is just way too insane for this match, and yeah, like, hopefully I'll be able to work around it. The only solace is that Greninja, since it isn't Protean, barring Water Shuriken on this, like, if he gets Water Shuriken with Life Orb and 5 rolls, it's just straight up OHKO's Diggersby. Like, it's insane. But, like, honestly, other than that, and I guess probably the Hydro Pump on it, like, Greninja shouldn't be able to OHKO anything. Ice Beam might OHKO this, but Nothing should be able to OHKO the Jolteon, which is the main one since Jolteon does that speed. And then it doesn't OHKO, nothing can OHKO Torn and nothing can OHKO Gallade. So yeah, well, barring Z moves, obviously. But again, I kind of expect Life Orb. And to be fair, if it's not Life Orb, it's Z. And if it's not either of those, it's more than likely going to be Specs. But yeah. So anyways, I'm rambling. Greninja's a huge threat, and I'm playing offensively against a Greninja, which is probably a bad idea, but I'm going to try to work around it. But yeah, so that is the team. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Oops, down below. And yeah, keep your eye out on the channel tomorrow for when the battle against Carson goes live. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.